YouTube, Dark Magician and Team Sorcerers here. I'm just here to talk about a couple of things. One or two of which I want to get off my chest, really. So, it's been a year now since the UK went into lockdown due to the pandemic, and in turn, Dead Uni has stopped doing game nights and game days, which is understandable. And obviously, I miss going there every week. And I'm just longing for the day that Dead Uni starts up Wednesday night gaming and Saturday gaming again, so I can see my friends, play Yu-Gi-Oh with them, buy their products, and, as in Dead Universe Comics' products, and do some spontaneous random pack openings. And of course, buy booster boxes and stuff, and do those right off the bat. Yeah, I just miss everyone. I can't believe it's been a year since I last saw pretty much everybody. I mean, I was able to see some of the guys, like when lockdown was eased up during the summer. Wednesday nights and Saturdays have just been so boring. Mind you, on the Saturdays I was able to, I have been able to find several things to do on a Saturday over the last year. It would just be nice for things to just go back to normal, so I can spend my Saturdays at Dead Universe Comics. Mind you, provided the road plan actually works and is a success, then hopefully we'll be back there come end of June, early July. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Touch wood. Now, like I said before, I have been asked if I'll play in the tournaments again, and it's been wished that I play in them again, but as I've said already, I'm not sure I really want to, because I ended up quitting tournaments for good last year, for reasons that I already went over in my frequently asked question video. Of course, at the same time though, despite that, it's kind of tempting to make a temporary comeback and do a tournament challenge where I use 15 out of my 16 Epic Elite decks. If you don't know what decks I'm referring to and haven't seen my Epic Elite Tournament series, the decks, of course, are my signature 3, Dark Magician, Elemental Heroes and Rainbow Neos, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Black Wings, Raid Raptors, Elemental Hero Divine Neos, Evil Heroes, Destiny Heroes, Cyburst Rockets, Yugi Gadgets, Noble Knights, Speedroids and Supreme Kings. Now the reason I say only 15 of them is because I don't have one of them anymore, which is my Noble Knights. I'm pretty sure I sold or traded the deck to Gamer Central almost 3 years back. I don't know if I'll be remaking the deck myself anytime soon. Maybe I will in the future, but for now that's the only one I don't have. Whereas at the moment, Supreme Kings and Raid Raptors aren't quite ready and how I want them built. Supreme Kings are missing 2 cards, and I still don't have all of the new Raid Raptor cards that came out in Phantom Rage. So I'm very behind on a Raid Raptor update. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how each of them do in locals. Obviously, I've never used Noble Knights, Divine Neos, Supreme Kings and Speedroids in a tournament before. I mean, they could do well, I guess. Although Noble Knights do, of course, have that one big weakness, Kaijus. Because, of course, there's nothing in the archetype that protects Noble Knight monsters from being tributed. Oh dear. Maybe one day we'll get something like that, who knows. Now, let's just do a quick summary over the other 12. Dark Magician, Elemental Heroes and Rainbow Neos I've played in tournaments many times over the years, and I've had my bad runs with them, but I've also had my fair share of successes with them. I've won my fair share of tournaments with Dark Magician. I've managed to win a tag team tournament with Rainbow Neos with the help of Alex Brute Boy with Yang Zings, and my Elemental Heroes won a skeleton character tournament. Okay, so those two aren't like normal tournaments, but still tournaments nonetheless, and I'll still take those wins. Blue Eyes White Dragon is the only other deck I have that's actually won a tournament after 4 previous failed attempts in the past. So yeah, yeah, we can always expect great things from Blue Eyes. Red Eyes has had the exact opposite luck. Well, maybe not exact, but hasn't been anywhere near as successful. I played my Red Eyes Black Dragon deck in 2 tournaments. In the first one, I only won 1 match, but in the second one, I scrubbed out and lost all my games. Although I was able to put up a good fight against most of the decks I played against, all of them, I can't remember. The decks in question being Dark World, Prophecies, Fairy Agents and Wind-Ups. Mind you though, these tournaments happened 2 and 3 years before we got the support from Clash of Rebellion, so things could be different, who knows. Black Wings I've also played in 2 tournaments and did very well in both of them. Like in the first one I won 2 out of 3 matches, and in the second one, well, that was a weird result. I got 2 wins and 2 draws, so at least my Black Wings went undefeated, even though I didn't win the whole thing. I can always count on them. Raid Raptors have been kind of unlucky, I guess. I played my Raid Raptors in 1 tournament, Now, I don't remember if there were 3 matches or 4 matches, keeping in mind this was almost 3 years ago. I mean, I may have a great memory, but it's not that great. I mean, I can't remember every little detail about specific stuff, but I remember. All I remember from back then was I lost my first 2 rounds, which were against Paleozoic frogs and Altergeists, a couple of very annoying decks, and I won against Element Sabers, but I don't remember if I also had a bye win that day. I don't know. Evil Heroes I've played in 2 tournaments, but didn't do very well in those. In the first one I only won 1 match, which was against a Skill Drain deck, and in the second one I won 2 matches, which were against Elemental Heroes and Noble Knights. And again, keep in mind, this was a long time before we got the support from Legendary Duelist 5 Immortal Destiny. So this was long before Malicious Bane and A Dusted Gold even existed. Destiny Heroes I've only used in 1 tournament, but I don't think I did that well in it. I don't remember how many rounds there were and all my matchups. All I remember is that I played against Express Gaming with Spirals and Kane with Tellarknights. I can't remember who won between me and Kane, but what I do remember is that Express Gaming beat me and won the whole tournament. That's all I remember. And again, this was also like about 1.5 years before we got the support from Dark Neostorm. So there's that. Cyberse I have also only ever played in 1 tournament, but it didn't do very well, unfortunately. But again, I don't remember if there were 3 rounds or 4 rounds. If there were 4, I'm pretty sure I did get a bye win at least. Other than that, all I remember is losing to ABCs, Altergeists and Element Sabers. It kind of sucked. And it wasn't even because of the ABCs themselves that I lost, it was because of stupid Baguska. Now, while Cyberse is a Link deck and Baguska doesn't work on Link monsters, it doesn't really matter if I can't use my main deck monsters to help set up, like Draconet, which was a staple back in 2018. But yeah, I just literally couldn't do anything because of Baguska, and then the ABC plays came along and finished me. Altergeists were Altergeists. I'm very disappointed that I lost against Element Sabers. Like, that should have been an easy deck to beat, but clearly not. Mind you, though, a mistake was pointed out when I uploaded the match video on my old channel. It was a mistake involving that level 6 Element Saber monster. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. All I remember is that it can special summon itself, and that special summon is a hard once per turn kind of deal, and that's where the mistake was. 2 of them were summoned in the same turn. Yeah, I don't think it would have mattered too much though, since we both didn't do very well at all in that tournament. But maybe things could have been different if that mistake didn't happen. Who knows? Rockets I've also only ever played in one tournament, which, funnily enough, was the last tournament I played in, like, last year before Dead Uni had to close because of the pandemic. I did pretty well in that one, getting 2 wins and 2 losses. And my wins being against Cyber Dragons and Noble Knights. I was pretty lucky against Cyber Dragons, I feel, because all Cyber Dragon players ever do is just summon Infinity and sit behind it just to get a free auto win. And the losses were against Endymion and Paleozoic Frog. That was annoying. And I lost against Endymion because I didn't see my sided cards again. And my plays with Borreload Dragon were ruined. The plan was to basically get Endymion off Weber's 5's field and stop him having a negate which shuts down half my deck. I mean, it kind of worked, but didn't really matter in the end. Although I wish I did that a bit differently. Because what happened was he ruined my plan by using his mythical beast Medusa to halve his Endymion. And I was like, wait, I thought Endymion couldn't be targeted. Wait, unless, and yes, you've guessed it, Endymion only has immunity from opponents' effects that target and destroy. And then I made the mistake of taking Reflection with Borreload, because it was the biggest beater on his field, and then attacked and destroyed Endymion, which was a big mistake, because that let him add a normal spell, and then I lost on the next turn. But what I should have done was take Endymion anyway, and then switch Endymion to defence, so that way, provided he didn't have a way to summon something with more than 2,000 attack, it would have been, Endymion would have been sent away at the end of his turn, and he wouldn't have got a search of its last effect. But who knows if that really would have made a difference. And of course I lost the Paleozoic Frog matchup in absolute bullshit ways. Like, first, Mystic Mine robbed me of victory in game 1, and I decked out, even though I did eventually get rid of Mystic Mine, and then in game 2 I bricked, like, within the last few minutes before time on the round was called. It's absolute bullshit. Like, I can't believe I bricked with Rockets, because Rockets are meant to be one of the most consistent decks in the game. Like, it, along with Gadgets, Elemental Heroes, and Raid Raptors, share this strength. All of these decks are decks that just shouldn't brick, ever. So how the hell did I brick with Rockets? That shouldn't have happened. I suppose my progress that day could have been a lot worse. And finally, speaking of Gadgets, there's Yugi Gadgets, which I played in 2 tournaments. In the first one, I did really, really well and made top 8. The second one, not so much. Again, I can't remember if there were 3 rounds or 4 rounds. All I remember was I beat a True King Dino deck, I lost against a completely different True King Dino deck, and I lost against Spirals. I may or may not have got a bye win as well. I don't remember, because we're talking almost 4 years ago here. What didn't help was that I didn't even have a side deck at the time, but the reason why I didn't have one was because this tournament was originally supposed to be a tag team tournament, but then it got changed to a normal one at the last minute, which was unfortunate, because obviously in tag team tournament duels they're done as best of one matches, so there's just no point having a side deck really. So yeah, there's that. I mean, in theory all of these decks could do well, but this tournament challenge does depend a lot on whether or not I actually want to come back to tournaments, even if it's just for a temporary amount of time. The thing is, I've quit tournaments 9 times now and come back after the first 8, and then and of course every time I came back, then sooner or later something bad would happen that would just put me off and make me not want to play in them again, and makes me wish I'd just stayed retired from tournaments after the first time I quit back in 2015. So my concern is that if I do go back to tournaments, then knowing my luck, sooner or later something shit is going to happen in it, which will again just outright put me off and make me not want to play in them again, and then we'll be back to this annoying yo-yo scenario where it's like I quit tournaments, then come back, then quit again, then come back again, then quit again, and so on and so forth. It's enough to drive anyone crazy. Of course, like I said in my 2020 rant, I feel like quitting tournaments was brought on by the fact that ever since 2014, bad things kept happening in my life, things that just messed me up mentally, not gonna lie. And this series of unfortunate events would creep into my Yu-Gi-Oh life, and then the things that generally bothered me about the game anyway bothered me even more, and it would get to the point where I just can't take it anymore and just don't want to deal with it anymore. So yeah, that's a problem. Having said that though, like we're like what are we now? Almost 3 months into 2021, and so far nothing bad has happened to me personally. Well, not yet anyway. I mean, there have been a couple of bumps in the road, which made me feel down in the dumps, but it was just stuff that was easily resolved and blown over, and it was something I could just about rise above from. So I wouldn't say it was really anything that would make me lose hope of 2021 getting better. But yeah, other than that, despite the fact that we're still in this pandemic and lockdown, nothing bad has happened to me personally in 2021, Um, but I am wary and kind of worried that at some point something really bad is going to happen which will make me pissed off or upset and just make me lose all hope of 2021 or anything really getting better. But hopefully that won't happen this time, like touch wood, because I'd really like to have a good year for a change, like for the first time since 2013. Alright, 2013 wasn't perfect, but it was still good enough to be a good year for me. And I would really like to have that again. But anyway, the point is about this is that seeing as just in general, besides these bumps in the road, nothing bad has happened. It's either been good stuff or okay stuff, nothing bad, nothing good, and that can give me motivation to give something like tournaments another go. Just good things happening and even some praise for doing something good or great just gives me a lot of motivation to do stuff, like not just things in Yu-Gi-Oh, but just anything in general. So maybe that'll be enough to push me into trying this challenge. I don't know. I guess I'll have to see how I feel when game nights and game dates do start up again. But even if I don't go back to tournaments, I'd be willing to give endurances another go. Now, I know it's taken almost half an hour to get to the endurance part, but here it is. Now, it's been over half a year since I last played in an endurance and said I didn't want to do them anymore. And one of the reasons why was because of one of the same reasons why I stopped playing in tournaments, like decks that I hate and just don't want to play against. Too many of those were being played against me. Decks which basically say you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh, like whether it's an OTK deck or a lockdown deck or both. Despite this though, I feel like the main problem in the last endurance was the fact that I kept making stupid mistakes, like mistakes that would just cost me the game, and like two in particular being challenging Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon with 3 old-fashioned Dark Magician decks, and having Shooting Star Dragon attack into Evil Hero Malicious Bane, completely forgetting that Weber's 5 had Honest Neos in hand. Like, these mistakes in particular not only cost me the game, but ruined my chances of winning the whole thing. That mistake in particular with Shooting Star Dragon and Malicious Bane just left me feeling so pissed off and upset. That's just generally how I am when I make a stupid misplay. Like, I know it's a game and I shouldn't feel that way, but I can't help it. Like, especially if it's in a tournament game or an endurance game or something similar. I just get annoyed and down in the dumps, and I just end up feeling like I've lost my touch, and I've lost the ability to play this game very well. That's how I felt about this, and that was how I felt like a lot of the time when I make these kinds of mistakes in tournaments. It generally plays a large part in why I quit most of the tournaments that I quit. However, there goes the cushion. I like this cushion, by the way. It's really cool. Of course, despite the fact that I make stupid mistakes and misplays, I do have the ability to learn from my mistakes. So it would be a case of just learning from them and making sure it doesn't happen again, really. Of course, the only problem with that is no matter how hard I try to just not make a mistake and make sure the game state is correct, a misplay just can just slip in under the radar, undetected, and mess everything up, and we don't realise this misplay happened until it's too late. At least, thankfully, I have you guys to point out mistakes in duels that mess up the game state, so that way we can prevent it in the future. So yeah, I think despite what happened last time, like I said, I am willing to give endurance games another go. So there you are, Chris Reinhardt and Weber's 5. Your wish has come true. I have changed my mind about endurances. But it will mean, of course, that the same rules that I put in will apply, where Noble Knights, Prank Kids and Cosmo are banned from endurances because of Caliburn, Prank Kids Dropsies and Cosmo Forerunner. Reason being, in case those have forgotten, is because that those cards give the card holder far too many life points, and it makes it too difficult to beat those specific decks and get further in the endurance, yet alone win the whole thing. I was thinking about making a specific ban list for endurances, where only specific cards are banned instead of decks, but my concern is that what are the words I'm looking for? Is that without certain cards in a deck, it might not work very well. I mean, I don't know about Cosmo, I'm obviously not an expert on playing the deck. I've never played the deck, nor will I ever play the deck, because I fucking hate Cosmo. But I would think that they can't really do without Forerunner, maybe. I don't know. The thing is with Cosmo is that they need life points to be able to activate specific cards and effects, and Forerunner is there to rejuvenate life points. But then again, since it's a hard-hitting OTK deck with big beat sticks that can't be targeted, life points don't usually matter. Well, maybe it does a little bit in an endurance, but I feel like it would take too much time to just wear them down, and like I could end up losing like 10 of my decks to them, and it would end up taking an 11th deck just to beat them, get them out of the endurance for good, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think it's generally better to just ban the decks with specific cards that increase life points too much. Though I'm debating whether or not to ban Red Dragon Archfiend because of Red Resonator, as Red Resonator also increases life points, like depending on which monster it's targeting. But to be fair, Red Dragon Archfiend isn't as consistent as Noble Knights, Prank Kids and Cosmo, and unlike Caliber, Dropsies and Forerunner, Red Resonator's second effect isn't exactly something I can pull off every single turn. I mean, I'd have to discuss it with the others, but yeah, that's pretty much everything I want to talk about, really. And this video's gone on longer than I intended it to be. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. And I'll catch you guys later. Stay safe.